Hey guys, I'm coming to you. Today is Tuesday. You know I try to do every Tuesday where we do a basic training tutorial on Brazil wax and all of our products. So I'm very excited to be coming to you today. We're going to talk about the marriage between our Ingrown Mask and our green cream. I'm going to elaborate very well on the green cream and exactly where and how it has multi-uses and why it's our number one ingrown treatment. So let's talk about the Ingrown Mask. So the Ingrown Mask is a professional product. This is a 4-ounce jar. It should give you between 50 and 100 applications. It's not going to be something that you're going to use on every client. You really want to have people that have infected ingrowns, which means they're red, they're raised, they're very, very specific in the way they look visually. They probably have a whitehead or a little bit of pus. This goes on immediately post-wax. After you have removed the hair in that area, you're going to put this on with a simple little Q-tip. You're going to dip it, put it directly onto the ingrown, massage it in for a little bit, let it allow for 10 minutes. What I always tell everyone, especially in the 7-minute Brazilian, we do soft wax on the top area. So once I've removed everything on the top area, I go in and I actually just put the mask directly on the ingrown itself, and then I keep working in the Brazilian, doing my labia area, doing the anal area, and that is, again, will cover the allow for 10 minutes. I will take a basic cotton dry and I will remove the mask, and then that's it. I'm not going to put anything after. When they go home, because again, these two work together, so if they're not open to having a treatment right in the service itself, I'm not going to be that open to the green cream. I may offer them the bar in the jar, because that is something that they can use all the time, but to really get rid of the ingrown itself in the bikini area, I love these two together, and I've always said that in all of my trainings. I really want people to commit. So not only am I going to charge $10 for the service right after waxing, I want them to commit to the home care. I have suggested to a lot of estheticians to actually add this in as a separate service. So you'll have a Brazilian wax or bikini wax with an ingrown treatment. The ingrown treatment will include the product. So, really pricing it specifically on your service menu, so that way people can actually choose that. Because there's a lot of people who will lie to themselves and say they don't have an ingrown, or it's a zit, or it's whatever. We all should know the difference between the two, but I find that when it's packaged together and the client can walk away with product, that they really are more likely to get that service. So the mask and the green cream work together. Again, this is one of the only products that work together specifically for ingrown for post-wax. We get a lot of questions about, does the mask burn after waxing? It does not. It is very simple. It's 6% sal, 6% lactic. We have coffee, we have clay. It's in a clay mask, so the clay is very pulling, but it's very, 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 very gentle on the skin. It does not sting or anything like that. For home care, here is where our green cream is very unique. So there's a lot of ingrown products that are on the market that are alcohol based. I don't have any alcohol in any of my products for professional or for home care, but I'm really specific to ingrowns because it's not just for waxing. There's a lot of people who shave, or they see you, they have an emergency situation where they shave in order to remove their hair, and we see a lot of people who actually go ahead and they get ingrowns in there because they shave more than once, or they're using a shave that has 4 and 5 blades where it's constantly scraping the skin, and then we start seeing the skin starting to grow under, and then we're starting to go into ingrown mode. But the green cream has multiple applications. So for a waxer, let's go over what we do for waxer first, and then I'll go over what you want to suggest for shavers, because shavers can use the green cream as well. So for waxers, for their home care, they're simply going to open it up, which is what we love to see. You're going to show them, they take a simple Q-tip, they're just going to dip it right into the green cream itself. They're going to have the green cream on the edge. They're going to put it directly on the ingrown. They're going to massage it in very simply, leave it on all night, and go to bed. It's that simple. They can do this every single night. They can do this until the ingrown goes away. It's very simple. It is not something that's over the top. They're just gonna go into the different areas, and I always tell them, and you can even show them, I hope you're having a tester when you're talking about your Brazil products, so you're actually opening it so they can see what it looks like. You have a Q-tip on hand, and you're showing them how they need to apply it directly onto the ingrown, how they need to massage the green cream into the ingrown. They need to do it after they shower, hopefully. And this can be in the bikini area. It can be anywhere where there's hair removal done, legs, underarms, especially bikini Brazilian, they can really be simple. So that is really it. They can use it every night until the ingrown goes away. And that's it. And they can use it as many times as they want. The ingredients on this is half of what the mask is. So it's still in a clay. It still has coffee. We still have the salicylic. We still have the lactic. Very, very moisturizing. And we have just 1% of the glycolic to give us an even more effective exfoliating process. So for our shavers, and I do have a lot of people who buy this to shave. So whether they have ingrowns and they shave and they don't want to wax, but they want a very effective ingrown shaving cream, this is also dual shaving cream. So if you have someone, and I'm just going to do a quick demo, so they're going to actually apply it very thin as a shaving cream wherever they're going to shave first. So no different than a regular shaving cream. They're just gonna put it right onto the skin. And I'm doing this very simple. They're gonna allow it to sit on here. They wanna cover the entire area. This is great for men if they have any kind of ingrowns here. If they have only ingrowns from the chin below, they can apply very specifically the green cream all over where they have ingrowns and then shave it off. That is what they want to do. If you have a client who is shaving because she's too scared to wax, but she has disclosed to you she has ingrowns, she can do this in the bikini area. You can do this for leg area. You can do it really wherever you want. They're going to go ahead and allow it on, and then they're literally just going to shave it off. So the shaving comes off as they're shaving the hair. So I want to be very specific with that, because there's been a lot of folks that have sent me messages that they're very amazed at how well it works and why do they shave the green cream off. The green cream being shaved off is very specific to treating the actual ingrown itself. We remember a lot of things happen when people shave. So if they're using more than 2 blades, if it's triple blade, quad blade, or 5, one of those blades is actually scraping against the skin and giving you a manual exfoliation. So imagine you have the green cream on, and then when they take their shaver, it's literally dragging it over the hair, and it's also forcing it into the follicle, which is what we want. This is another product that clients can use every single day until the ingrown goes away. They can use it as a shaving cream, which we absolutely love. And that's the one thing I find with green cream, it's very versatile. So it's really for anyone that just has had very pestering ingrowns, meaning they've been there for a while, longer than a month, they're not going away, they're using other products where they're not seeing any results from. Green cream is kind of like the fixer. It comes in and it cleans it up. You can boost it up even more by using the Ingrown Mask. If it is a gentleman and they do have a lot of ingrowns here and they do want to have any kind of gentleman's facial, or you're doing any kind of ingrown facial for them, that's where I would pull out my biput mask and actually put the mask directly onto it. So there's a lot of different things that you can use with it. We do offer this in a kit, so if you want to get the mask, you can buy 3 of the green cream and retail it to everyone. It's called our Ingrown Kit, or you can buy each of these by themselves. Again, on the retail, we discount at $12, $24, $48. So the more you buy, the more you get your discount off. But the ingrown process, or treating ingrowns while you're doing your service, is another way to boost up your service. I always say add on $10 if you're going to use the Ingrown Mask, and then you're going to sell the green cream to them for $30. So you have a retail sale, you have a commitment to having the ingrown product being put on as soon as they're done with their waxing service. And it's very simple. If you don't have a program, I think this is a good opportunity for you to find that program, even if it's not for bikini or Brazilian. Can you exfoliate with the bar soap before the mask? That's too much. The bar in the jar is simply in home care. It's not something that you're going to use in the treatment room. Bar in the jar, the exfoliating bar in the jar, is strictly for that client to use at home. That is not something you're going to be applying to the skin during or after a service. For the mask and the green cream, those are really the two that you're going to use post-service, and that's what they're going to use for home care. And because the mask is clay, it's going to be pulling. And again, remember, bar in the jar has to be lathered. It has to have that manual exfoliation, and we don't want that immediately after waxing. That's going to be a little bit too much for that skin. So when you look at clients that have had very specific ingrowns, they're coming back in the same area, they're very consistent for the length of time. So the ingrown, if you noticed it being there after the second appointment and after the third appointment, they still have an ingrown. There is something definitely that's happening at home. So the other part I also want to elaborate on too is just making sure that you're really having communication with your customers. I find that there's a lot of us who just do not have great communication when it comes to ingrowns because we don't want it to seem like it's our fault based off of the services that they've gotten with us. Clarissa asks, for a man facial, would you put the mask all over the beard area or just the ingrowns? Just the ingrowns. I would put it on after you double cleanse the face. I would put it on while you have the exfoliation going on, whether it's an enzyme or whatever. It might be too much if you did the enzyme in that area and then turn around and put the mask on top. I think it might be a little bit too active, so you can kind of separate and just put neck below. Most guys get a lot of ingrowns here. I would put the ingrown mask on here, continue with my exfoliation, whether it's an enzyme here or a grammage or, you know, a scrub or whatever you're doing, and then remove everything at the same time. There's nothing wrong with putting steam on that as well. But I find that when we start talking about ingrowns, we start talking about clients who either have developed ingrowns since they've been with us or they've had ingrowns for a long time, we don't really open up that level of conversation. And it's not necessarily reflective of what you have done from their service. It also has to do with their home care. I think that's one thing that we're not that open into asking. What are you doing from the time I see you to the next time I see you? Like, you got to have that communication with them. You got to have that open, honest conversation about what they use at home. You'd be surprised at how many clients go and just see things online or they see things on TV and they just try them. You'd be surprised at what people bathe with or people who don't bathe. And when I say people who don't bathe, they don't bathe regularly. I've actually had a couple clients where we've had conversations about just bathing because a lot of the ingrowns were in areas that it wasn't really that common to have an ingrown, and that's when we start talking about the bathing and, you know, not bathing regularly and, you know, why is it not bathing regularly? And that's kind of how those conversations opened up to help me understand why they were getting ingrowns in those places. You would be very surprised at what you would get when you start discussing with people their cleansing habits. You know, not to say that the reason they have an ingrown is from cleansing, but it also gives you an idea of what they're doing when they're not with you. Surprisingly enough, a lot of people are not aware of, you know, the true reasons why ingrowns come. They don't really understand that they can't go to the gym and then stay in their yoga pants for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours if they go to the gym in the morning and then never bathe. Like, there is truly no real connection until you bring up that connection. And because I focus a lot on waxing, I think I take the same approach that I do with skincare, you know, when you're doing client consultations, where you're doing intake forms, where you're asking them questions about medications. It's the same thing that I do for hair removal. You know, it has to be even more. Certain medications will just really wreak havoc on your skin, especially if you're waxing and they don't disclose it. There's a lot of other issues as far as cleansing the skin as well, or over exfoliating, that can also cause issues and cause ingrowns as well. So, you know, there's a real fine line into how the skin responds to hair removal, whether it's waxing, whether it's shaving. But I think it's really our job to open that dialogue and have those kinds of conversations to ask, okay, so, you know, if you shave, I understand you shave. Do you use a single blade? Do you use a double, triple, quad, 5 blade? How often are you doing that? Do you use a cream? Do you use a gel? Are you using water? Are you using soap? All of those things play a factor when it comes to hair removal. Even if you wax their brows and they start having a discussion with you about ingrowns on their bikini, that still should be a conversation that you should be open to having with them. And I posted this a long time ago about understanding the different modalities of hair removal. It's not just waxing. We have depilatories, we have shaving, we have threading, we have laser hair removal, we have sugaring. You should be knowing about all of those different methods, because you never know where you get clients from who come to you for whatever service you offer. For me, I really prided myself into making sure that I completely understood all of the different modalities. So when they came to me and there became a problem, I can really say, okay, well, laser, you have to shave right before you get your service. When you get waxed, you don't have to shave right before you come see me. The longer the hair, the better. And that, for a lot of my laser folks who were coming back to waxing, became a very specific problem. I knew that that's what they were doing because I used to do laser consults for a doctor, and I did that for about 2.5 years. So I really kind of prided myself in understanding the different modalities of how people use hair removal, and then how it really affects me when they become a customer and we start to see that they're not getting the results that they want. A lot of it has to do with what they're doing at home, and what they're doing at home has to be discussed, whether you see it in a client consultation form or whether you have that discussion when they're on your treatment room. You got to really understand, what are you doing when I don't see you? If I ask you to come in every 4 weeks because I'm trying to get your hair growth cycle to be all at the same time, you can't turn around and shave next week, and explaining that to people can be very, very eye-opening, because then it's like, okay, so you really don't understand what waxing is about. And let's have that discussion on explaining the benefits of waxing and why you don't shave a week after you get your waxing appointment. And I think that's something that I'm really trying to be a lot better with when I'm doing these trainings, is really bridging together why I have different products for hair removal. I focus on wax because I produce and make waxes, but there's a lot of you guys who are seeing customers who are not just waxers. Transitioning someone from shaving to waxing is a very difficult task, and it's difficult because they're so used to not having hair. So that's even a process in itself. Having someone to go from, shaving every day to only seeing you maybe every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks is also a transition that can be very challenging. But the products that I have specifically for issues of skin, whether it's for waxing or shaving or anything like that, Ingrowns can be created and someone not even having hair removal. I've seen Ingrowns, horrible Ingrowns, on a woman who didn't even shave her bikini area. The hair was very, very long, good 3 and 4 inches. So, really understanding the options that you have, why I pair together our Ingrown Mask and why I pair together our green cream, why those two were formulated and they're very similar to each other, why I only have one for post-wax or post-hair removal instantly, and why the home care can be used every day without drying out the skin. All of that's important when you start thinking about, what you want to retail, what kind of ingrown product you want to retail, how is it going to act in the skin. Can it be used even if a client goes overboard and tries to use it 2 and 3 times a day instead of 1 time a day? All of those things I kept in my forefront when I was creating the product, because I already knew that I had a lot of clients who were using other products that were very, very high in alcohol, and they weren't getting the results they wanted because the skin was so dehydrated. The alcohol only had to do with absorption. It had nothing to do with actually treating the ingrown itself. And I think we get into that mode as well when we start talking about recommending products. If you really don't understand how the ingredients react in the skin, recommending a product has nothing to do with that certain individual, which is why it's important when you are doing hair removal, you're paying attention to whether they're dehydrated. You're paying attention at how the hair is grabbing. When you have the wax on, is it breaking off? Is it not breaking off? Is it very clean? Is the client absorbing any of the post products that are happening? Are they absorbing them very fast, which typically means the skin is dehydrated? All of those key signs really tell you a lot when it comes to the health of the skin. And as we know with waxing, the more hydrated the skin is, the more healthier the skin is, the easier the job is. When someone is dehydrated, when someone's on medications, when someone likes a lot of alcohol, when someone doesn't take care of their body that well, the skin is one big organ. We know that there's a difference. And those all play keys into whether the client has any kind of issues with ingrowns as well. So, it's looking at it from a different point of view, but really understanding what ingredients actually do what in the skin. I'm a big and huge advocate of no alcohol and no witch hazel. Those really have to do with absorption. It has really nothing to do with treating where I want it to treat. It's just kind of the carrier. So alcohol takes things very quickly in the skin, but they also dry out the skin extremely fast as well. Most of the people that are coming to us that have ingrowns in those areas, they're already dry. They're using very alkaline soaps, or they're using fragrant-based products that are bringing the skin to an alkalinity level that I don't want it to be, because the skin is very angry and mad. I want it to get more neutral. I want it to be more hydrated. So when I look at our Ouch Balm, our Calm, our Green Cream, our Bar in the Jar, our personal bars, all of those things that we created for home care and for retail is to really get the skin to be as nice and happy as it needs to be without dehydrating it or pulling things out of it. I'm very particular about what I want to put on the skin because I know that, not everyone reacts well to witch hazel. Not everyone reacts well to ethanol alcohol, or ethanol alcohol, to rubbing alcohol, which is a very cheap derivative of alcohol, but isopropyl alcohol or any of the other ones that are in a lot of the ingrown in products. A lot of skin doesn't respond really well, and it's not the tingling and the burning that actually says that is doing something in the skin. It's just because it's absorbing very quickly into the skin. That's just the reaction. So I really try to focus on what can I do to not only bring hydration to the skin, but what can I do so that the ingrown is actually going to be able to respond to it? Am I going to keep dehydrating that area by putting on things that are pulling out, moisture from the skin, or I'm going to put moisture into the skin, but also put, ingredients in that are going to be very effective in the ingrown. So I think, when I break down the whole Green Cream and Ingrown Mass together, they're kind of a unique product. Most waxing companies won't provide you with the product to use immediately after waxing or removing the hair to treat an ingrown. And that's where the mask comes in. I really wanted something I could do right in the service itself that can be very effective to the ingrown as soon as I see it. And that's something that I've always done. That's been something that I've really wanted to have. And then turn around and have them use the Green Cream every day, is really another product where it's not going to be irritated to the skin. It's going to do exactly what it says it's going to do. We will be at the Fort Lauderdale show in October. Yes, we will also have Nick Townsend be with us in the booth as well. He'll have his products, and we're very excited for that. That will actually be our last show of the year. So there's a lot of you guys who are already on our program for the Ingrown Mask and the Green Cream. We have quite a few very loyal estheticians who truly understand the way it works in the skin, but also the results that people get from it. And then we also have, a bigger, broader understanding that there's a lot of people who are not waxing. There's a lot of clients who come to you just for brows, but they may shave their bikini or their legs. They may have ingrowns. There's a lot of men that have ingrowns but don't know how to fix it or talk to you about it because the subject is never broached. There's a very large population in our world that has ingrown issues, but they don't quite understand that it's just not a product. Products don't just help it, especially if you have someone that has had an ingrown for months. If they've been using a product and nothing has changed with that ingrown, there's a little bit something else that's going on. And so that's why I really love and encourage to kind of broaden your understanding on ingrowns and not just keep it in the waxing world. Yes, it does happen to be there, but there is other modalities of hair removal where people do get ingrowns, So I hope that this conversation actually allows you to open your mind a little bit about how you're treating ingrowns, if you are, giving you options if you're wanting to start treating them, and if you're wanting to have a really in-treatment product that you use along with very strong home care so that they work together. Please post your questions below this video if you have any questions. I always try to get to the questions that I get. Make sure you tag me, Stephanie Laynes, so that way I know you're speaking to me. Believe it or not, I have hundreds of tags all over Facebook that people tag me in all the time. So sometimes if you don't tag me, I actually don't get it, or it gets lost in the tag load. So I'm not ignoring you. It's just I didn't even know that you were trying to talk to me. So I will come back next Tuesday with our next one. If you did not see last Tuesday's, I talked about the bar in the jar. All you have to do is do a search in our search bar and just look for Say Brazil Training. And I try to do every videos on that. Next week, I will come and talk about our Ouch Balm. All right, guys, have a great week. I'll be in touch. Bye.